Holger Rune never intended to say it, but once he said it, there was no going back. He asked her a straightforward inquiry about other players during a casual interview before mentioning her name. Eala Alex. The tennis world saw everything in the way he paused and moved his gaze, and what transpired next would transform a private admiration into the most talked-about revelation in the sport. Some players in the realm of professional tennis bring more to the court than just their own aspirations. They represent the aspirations of entire countries. For Denmark, Holger Rune, the Danish sensation with a fiery temperament and powerful backhand, had become just that. He had already broken into the top 10, defeated several Grand Slam winners, and became one of the ATP's most promising young players at the age of just 21. His ascent was not only swift, but also essential. Rune carried that burden like armor. Denmark had not seen a tennis star of this kind in decades. Another teenage tennis player was going through her own version of pressure-filled stardom on the WTA circuit. As the first Filipino to win a Grand Slam title at any level when she won the US Open Girls Singles Championship, Alex Eala became more than just a tennis player for her country. She was also the first to break into the WTA Top 200 and then the Top 150. Every match she played was about more than just rankings or prize money. It was about demonstrating that a country of more than 110 million people belonged in the top ranks of tennis. At combined ATP/WTA events, their paths had occasionally crossed. Contrary to popular belief, the professional tennis circuit is quite modest. Future Hall of Famers sit next to aspiring qualifiers in the same hotels, practice facilities, and player lounges. Although their circles overlapped, Rune and Eala were never fully in the same spotlight. He was the erratic genius vying for titles in the Masters 1000. As she worked her way up the main tour and through WTA 125 tournaments, she was the resolute barrier breaker. However, this is what made their interaction intriguing. In various settings, they embodied the same archetype. Both were bearing national expectations that would crush athletes of lower caliber. Both were navigating the perilous waters of living up to early promise after achieving breakthrough success at an early age. Both had the uncommon blend of mental toughness and technical skill that distinguishes the good from the possibly great. And both recognized the special loneliness of being your nation's only representative at the top level of an individual sport, whether they acknowledged it out loud or not. Despite its global reach, the tennis community is close-knit. Players take note of one another. In locker rooms, they watch each other's games. Fitness trainers and practice courts are shared. They comprehend exactly what the person on the other side of the locker room or the internet is going through in ways that outsiders could never comprehend. Thus, when young athletes accomplish something noteworthy, their classmates notice. Other young players on the circuit witnessed Alex Eala's victories in pivotal matches or her innovations for Filipino tennis. And one of those players paying notice was Holger Rune, despite playing on a different circuit and being geographically and competitively separated. The amount of attention he had been giving was unknown. Not until that interview, not until his meticulously preserved professional facade gave way just enough to expose something sincere beneath. Because, just like in life, the most genuine stories are frequently revealed by the unplanned moments in tennis. What happens when it's difficult to conceal admiration? It was meant to be a standard press requirement. Holger Rune had conducted interviews of this type hundreds of times. A Masters 1000 events post-practice media session, where players provide well-rehearsed responses to questions posed by journalists. With the sound of tennis balls reverberating in the background, the scene was laid back in a shaded spot close to the practice courts. Seated comfortably in his practice gear, Rune appeared prepared to sail through another 15 minutes of normal tennis banter. The reporter began by asking him the standard questions about his preparation for the competition, his thoughts on his draw, and his recuperation from a minor ailment that prevented him from competing in the last event. Rune responded with the effortless ease of someone who had performed this dance countless times. He did feel fantastic. The knee was fine, yes. Indeed, he was excited about the challenge. Typical. Expert. Unforgettable. Question that altered everything then appeared. You've mentioned seeing other young players on tour before, Holger. Are there any up-and-coming female athletes whose games you watch or like, as the WTA side is also present this week? The purpose of the question was to pass the time and perhaps elicit a statement on the next generation of tennis players. The journalist most likely anticipated that Rune would bring up Coco Gauff or perhaps Mira Andreeva, the players who were already well known and safe. However, Rune did not provide the obvious response. He hesitated. It wasn't the typical pause that athletes take to come up with a tactful answer. This was not like the others. Longer. His eyes shifted slightly to the left, which is how people's eyes move when they are retrieving real memories instead of reciting prepared talking points. Then he grinned, but it was a measured, professional smile, not the one he usually wears at press conferences. This was an uncontrollably ashamed smile. He said, "Alex Eala," which sounded softer than his earlier responses. "She's doing amazing things for Filipino tennis, in my opinion. It's truly amazing how hard she battles in every match and how she's had to qualify and advance through minor competitions to gain opportunities at the major tour level." Something caught the journalist's attention. The faint hint of inquiry in their voice could be heard in the follow-up query. "Do you monitor her outcomes?" One more pause. For a moment, the self-assured top 10 player appeared to be a 21-year-old who had just been questioned about a crush as Rune moved in his seat. "Yes, I believe that many of us do. Her game is quite comprehensive. You can't coach her exceptional movement or mental toughness, especially during close games. Either you have it or you don't. She possesses it." The singularity of this moment is what made it exceptional. HOLGER RUNE wasn't making generic compliments. He wasn't using the platitudes that athletes use when they don't genuinely follow someone's profession, such "she's talented" or "she works hard." He was alluding to particular elements of Eala's style of play, her agility, and her ability to remain composed under duress. These weren't conclusions drawn from a single viral highlight. This was the analysis of a person who had watched several of her matches and paid enough attention to develop sincere technical judgments. Sensing they had come into something, the journalist moved forward. "Have you two ever discussed tennis or practiced together?" Rune's face changed once more. Now it was obvious to him that this line of inquiry had taken him in a different direction. "We've had a few conversations about player lounge topics during tournaments, but she's incredibly committed. I honor that." Subsequently, he included a statement that would be the most scrutinized on tennis social media for the following week. "I believe a lot of people will be surprised by her. She possesses all the necessary skills to place in the top 50, if not higher, and when she does, everyone will recognize her uniqueness. Not if, but when she does. That assurance, that precise forecast, that individual commitment to the future success of another player." The discussion went on for a few more minutes, going back to safer subjects like his tournament strategy and serve style. However, depending on your point of view, the harm or the revelation had already been done. The video was online in less than an hour. It was posted on tennis Twitter, tennis Instagram, and tennis TikTok in less than 2 hours. Filipino tennis fans produced compilation videos titled HOLGER RUNE Respects Alex Eala set to heartfelt music in just 3 hours. Within 6 hours, side-by-side pictures of Rune and Eala were being shared on tennis gossip accounts, with captions guessing on the true meaning of the images. Professional athletes are not supposed to do what HOLGER RUNE had unintentionally done. Everyone in attendance felt that he had disclosed something sincere and intimate that went beyond mere professional deference. This was just the beginning of the internet's impending insanity. Detective work is what tennis fans are best at. Additionally, the tennis internet became something akin to a crime scene investigation unit when HOLGER RUNE's interview was released. However, they were unraveling the puzzle of Rune's true level of admiration for Alex Eala rather than solving murders. Twitter was where it all began. The interview clip was shared by a Filipino tennis fan account with the remark, "I see you, Holger," as HOLGER RUNE grinned while discussing Alex Eala. The quotation tweets started coming in within minutes. He actually said, "When she does, not if she does, I'm screaming," pausing before uttering her name. Professional athletes don't discuss other players in this manner unless there is a deeper issue. However, The actual investigation started when someone chose to look into Rune's past social media posts. At that point, things became intriguing. A user discovered a practice shot from a 7-month-old post. After attending a training session in Spain, Eala posted. A straightforward fire emoji from HOLGER RUNE's verified account was buried in the comments. 73 comments below. No one had noticed at the time. Eala had roughly 200,000 followers, whereas Rune had 800,000. One emoji may easily blend in with the background. No, though. It felt like proof now. A story that Eala had shared 5 months prior, celebrating her maiden WTA main draw triumph, was then discovered by someone. She tagged a couple sponsors as well as the competition. HOLGER RUNE had seen it. The fan who found this had screenshot evidence from Eala's close friends list that had somehow leaked, even though Instagram doesn't openly display story views to everyone. Rune's account was displayed among the watchers in the screenshot. The detective job became more intense. An image from Indian Wells, one of the combined ATP WTA events, was found in the collection of a tennis photographer. HOLGER RUNE and Eala, who were both waiting for courts, appeared to be conversing in the backdrop of a practice court shot. They were giggling. 4 months had passed since the picture was shot. When it was first posted, it had about 40 likes. Now, it was being shared thousands of times with comments like, "Look at how he's looking at her," and "They've been talking." Tennis drama covering YouTubers started making videos. One book was HOLGER RUNE's Secret Crush. Read another to find out why ATP players are interested in Eala. Hundreds of thousands of tennis fans who may not have heard of each player previously were exposed to these videos thanks to the algorithm's effective work. TikTok developed into its own speculative